Welcome. Another day in the market. We're back. While people are hopping into the stream, just gonna talk about crypto for a little bit, for 2 or 3 minutes. After that, we're gonna talk about the overall market, why there are some bearish technicals on the S&P 500. Then we're gonna be talking about Clover, Fisker, Microvast, a couple other ongoing swings that I've put out. And yeah, I'm probably gonna do ticker requests after all that. So make sure to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for, I think we hit 2,800 subscribers, so thank you for that. Another milestone right there. Getting closer and closer to 3,000 every day, so help us hit that point. Hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. And yeah, we're just gonna start with Bitcoin really quickly. It is now closed 2 days above the 200-day moving average. You're just about getting overbought on the daily, but historically, you can go up to much higher levels on the RSI. So just because you're a little bit overbought does not mean it cannot go higher. But it's something to keep an eye on. I really think above the 200-day moving average, there's just not a lot of resistance. Maybe the next resistance would be around 47,000 from previous lows in April. But other than that, there's not much. Regardless, very nice move on Bitcoin since 32K. It's obviously been a great time for the crypto trades. I started a crypto trade alert idea channel in the Discord. So far, every single crypto trade I've shared since I opened that channel has been in profit. And yeah, I mean, the Atom trade is literally currently at the first target for a 40% gain. If it hits the second target, that'll be a 56% gain. The Chainlink trade is on its way to the second target, not too far away. It's currently up 65% since the entry already in just a few weeks. So getting closer to that $26 third or second target. The NU trade is currently up about 29% since the entry, and then the FIL trade is currently up about 20% since the entry. So across the board, just handing out money, I guess, when it comes to crypto for the last couple of weeks, obviously with the help of Bitcoin. But these trades were coming out before Bitcoin really made a huge move. So it's all about timing and just kind of trying to put yourself on the right side of probability. Yeah, now we're going to talk about the market for about 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to be talking about Clover and Fisker and Microvast. I have a lot to speak on all three of those names. So yeah, for the overall market today, kind of a mixed day. The S&P and the Russell 2000 were a little bit green. The NASDAQ and the ARK ETF were red. We did get some intraday pullbacks across the board. It wasn't horrible though. There definitely was green things that you could find today. But just taking a look at earnings, we had Fubo really do well on earnings today after the close. Same thing for Upstart. So really nice moves on those. So far, it's been a pretty good week for a lot of the earnings that have come out from mid caps. Tomorrow we have Neo and Clover reporting after the close. Helion and Wix in the morning. So keep an eye out for that. Then on Thursday we have a huge day. We have Palantir, Baidu, Disney, Wish, Airbnb, Rocket, SoFi, Sundial, Luminar, DoorDash. Thursday is just a huge day. And then Friday is pretty quiet for earnings. But yeah, pretty important earnings week for retail stocks and mid caps. And like Cheddar Freeze just said in the chat, we do have CPI numbers tomorrow, Consumer Pricing Index. So we're going to see how that affects things, with all the talks about inflation the past couple of months. We'll see what those numbers look like. I believe they might come out at 8:30 a.m. EST, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we're going to see what tomorrow brings for the market. Looking at the technicals, it's in the title of the stream, it's in the thumbnail. The S&P 500 does have some bearish technicals right now. It's not the end of the world. I'm not calling for a crash. I'm just sharing what I see on the chart. So if we go over to the S&P 500 right now, on the daily, you have triple classic bearish divergence, as you can see on the MACD and on the RSI. On the 4-hour, you also have classic bearish divergence on the MACD and on the RSI. So you have bearish divergence on both the time frames I look at, on both the oscillators that I look at. Not a great sign. Alongside that, you're in a little bit of a rising wedge over here. You could probably draw this a few different ways. This is just how I have it drawn, but you're approaching the apex point of this pattern. It always could break to the upside, especially if we have really good numbers that come out in the morning or if it's just a nice green day. But if this does break to the downside alongside the bearish divergence across the board, I don't know, it just looks like we could potentially be in an area where maybe we just pull back a little bit before making another higher low and running higher. Obviously depends on the fundamentals and everything, but Just keep an eye out for that. I believe as well the infrastructure bill passed the Senate. It might have to move on to the House now, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm just thinking about headlines. I didn't actually look into any articles or whatever. I mainly just look at the charts. I'm just trying to recap, everything from today. But yeah, just keep an eye on this for the S&P 500. We have seen multiple times this year when we get bearish divergence on the daily and the 4 hour, we have gotten pullbacks. It's been a pretty spot on signal for mini pullbacks this year. If you've been watching the stream, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Multiple times. So we'll see what happens this time. And then looking at the ARK ETF, just really not a good day. From a technical standpoint, it took a lot of damage. This is the first day. It closed 3 days above the breakout point in this little ascending triangle. Today it just did not care about any ascending triangle. It just fell, never recovered. Not only it broke back into the pattern, it also closed under the 200-day moving average for the first time in about 5 days. So not a good technical day for the ARK ETF, for everybody who's looking at mid caps and growth stocks. So now that this kind of pattern is pretty much invalidated, you would kind of just probably extend it up like that, maybe look at it as like an upsloping channel, however you want to look at it. But pretty unfortunate. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. There was green, but a lot of things were red in that kind of sector. So we'll see what this turns into. Hopefully it can bounce back. Russell 2000 flat day, not much of a change. NASDAQ was down, bearish engulfing candle on the NASDAQ today actually, unfortunately. So not the best technical day by any means. So just keep an eye out for all of that. The VIX was flat today. The dollar has been going up for the past week or so. The Dow Jones was up 0.5%. Chinese stocks were up, or at least the Hang Seng Index was up today. And then this is the big one. Okay, if you've been watching the stream, we talked about this last week. The quadruple classic bullish divergence on the daily for the US 10-year yields. Yeah, and it's playing out. You cannot be surprised that they're going back up, right? It was at the demand line of this descending broadening wedge. There was an immense amount of bullish divergence. This is nothing new. We talked about this last week or the week before. And there you go. It's now broken back above the 200-day moving average. So, you could even be looking at this like a potential double bottom as well. So from a technical standpoint, it does look pretty good right now. But, from a fundamental standpoint, there's a lot of arguments that could be made to either direction, I guess. So yeah, that's pretty much it from a technical standpoint, covering the market today. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 20 likes right now. Hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. What else we got? Mehdi says gonna attend CLOV's earnings calls. Hope they have better enthusiasm this time. I hope so too. Mehdi says also, do you ever play long-term options on SPY? Personally, I don't. I don't really know why. Just, if I'm playing options on SPY, usually it's just shorter term options that I'm playing on, the daily or the 4 hour, like 1 week out, 2 week out, stuff like that, pretty much within under like a month. I don't really play SPY options that much, in terms of like swinging them. If I do, a lot of the time when I trade indices, I day trade them if I'm trading options on them. So yeah, other than that, pretty much your market for the day. Now we could talk about some other stocks. We're going to start off with Microvast, then we're going to talk about Clover, and then we're going to talk about Fisker. So Microvast, a lot of people have been messaging me about this one. It's one of the highest trending tickers on social media and Wall Street Bets and all of that. And yeah, I just finally decided to look at the chart again. I haven't looked at this in a couple of weeks now. It's been on an absolute tear. This thing just went from $8 to $16, so just doubled within a week. Pretty much it's doubled. So this is not my typical type of trade. I'm not going to be putting out an idea on this, just because I don't really like chasing things after they've already gone up. 100% gains in the week are cool, especially when you're talking about an actual stock. But as an options trader, I don't ever feel FOMO whenever I see things doing that. It's like, percents up and down, you're just trying to catch whatever you can. But it's pretty interesting looking at this chart. You have a right angled descending broadening formation, and it's pretty interesting. So this is a bullish pattern. I would say this is probably the best way to look at it. This $16 level is your neckline of the pattern. If it ever breaks above 16, that would be your breakout. It did test that today. It was also your highs from the middle of March on Microvast, and then it's just kind of pulled back during the day. Alongside this though, for the Microvast chart, if we go over to the 1 hour, a little bit of a cup and handle formation. Even like if we go more down, I think on the 15-minute chart, there's some hidden bullish divergence developing with the potential bull flag idea. So, I mean, I'm probably not going to be looking at this as a swing just because this thing just doubled. And that's just not how I personally swing trade. But I might be looking at this for the next few days for day trading it, seeing what I can catch on this one because there already is a lot of volatility. So, you know, I'm going to see how this opens tomorrow, see what it does in the morning, and kind of close right around the 200-day moving average. But so many people are talking about this name, and surprisingly, there actually is. You know, even though it just went up 100% in like a week, there actually is some sort of a pattern on the chart, which usually you don't have when you make that sort of a crazy move. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on Microvast. I can't stress it enough. I do not chase things personally in terms of swing trading, but as a day trade, it depends on the day. And that's really it for Microvast. Pretty simple, pretty straight to the point. Just wanted to share what I saw when I was looking at it a couple hours ago, because a lot of people have been asking me about it. That's your chart. I mean, in terms of levels on this, I'd probably say 1184 is your closest support. Back from the middle of June, it was your support. It kind of turned into resistance in the middle of July. And then in terms of resistance, 16 is your next resistance, and that would be your breakout point if you got above it. If it gets above 16, then I think $20 has room to be tested. There's not a lot of resistance between 16 and 20. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Microvast. Now we can talk about Clover for 10 minutes or so, and then we'll talk about Fisker after that. So yeah, earnings are tomorrow for Clover after the bell. Tar Heel Blue, I did a stream with him yesterday morning, I believe, and just wanted to let you all know he will be streaming all day tomorrow covering Clover, and like literally the whole entire day, I believe. He's doing like a marathon stream, and he will be covering like the earnings call and everything. He got permission from investor relations and whatnot, I believe. So yeah, make sure to check it out tomorrow. I'll be watching as much as I can during the day. But yeah, big day, probably the biggest day for Clover tomorrow from a fundamental standpoint for the quarter because it's earnings. And today was a red day for Clover. I saw a lot of panic today on Clover. I really wasn't panicking at all. I mean, we were still green on the week. Yes, we were down 5% today, but we were up about, I think, 11 or 12% at the highs yesterday. And even this morning, it went to $9.40 in the pre-market. So yes, it did drop a whole entire dollar into the close. You know, it was at $9.40 in the pre-market, it closed at $8.40. So it did drop a whole dollar if you look at it like that. But again, if we go over to a weekly candle, we still are up probably about like 25 cents or so. You're up actually 34 cents. So still green week, still up 4% on the week, and earnings are tomorrow. And regardless of all the technicals and everything, it most likely will come down to the earnings for Clover. And even with the pullback today, nothing changed from a technical standpoint. You know, you still have the hidden bullish divergence on the daily. On the 4 hour, I was looking at this like a range. You know, I was trying to look at it in different ways today. Kind of an Adam and Eve double bottom formation. The Adam is kind of like the V-shaped recovery on the first bottom, and then the Eve is kind of the rounding bottom on the second bottom. So just a little bit of an interesting formation there at the pattern completion zone, like I've been saying for weeks now, of a bullish crab, the same exact pattern, which pretty much led to the all-time lows. It hit the exact final level of the bullish crab on March 5th at the 1618 Fibonacci extension, and that was your all-time lows. So same exact pattern, except it's on the 4 hour and it's a little bit smaller. But you know, these patterns are pretty meaningful, and if you've been watching my streams, you know what I'm talking about. You know, literally on that day on March 5th, I know I've been saying this a lot on stream, it's just there might be some new viewers in here. Literally on this day, on the all-time low day for Clover, I put out a trade idea on it just because of this bullish grab, and we got another one now, and there's obviously a new trade idea. This trade is still in profit as well. So pullback day today for Clover, but I'm not really too concerned about it. What's more important to me than a 5% pullback is how the earnings go tomorrow. So we'll see. Anything is possible. I'm never going to be one, you know, no matter how much I like Clover, I'm never going to say that there isn't risk. There's always risk. There's no certainty in trading. You know, I'm looking at this currently as a swing trade, right? So as a swing trader, there's always a chance of your trade failing. Could it be a great investment long-term? Absolutely. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying you have to take your emotions out of things when you're trading and not investing. When you're trading, you really just got to make sure you're watching the levels, you're keeping control of your emotions, and you cannot get married to anything. And, you know, I've been talking about Clover nonstop. I do like Clover. I'm in Clover. There's a trade idea on Clover. The streams are all about Clover kind of recently. So there's a lot of Clover, but even with all that stuff, anything is possible. So just continue to manage your risk. I hope it goes well tomorrow. and we'll see what happens tomorrow for Clover. You know, a lot of interesting things. The options chain for August 20th it's pretty monstrous, if I'm being honest. And if the FTDs as well, Tar Heel was talking about those. You know, just a lot of stuff apart from the stock price that's kind of going on with this name. That's just very, let's just call it interesting, just interesting. And again, you know, I don't really talk about Clover as a short squeeze or whatever, but it still does have that high short interest of about at least over 20%, according to TD Ameritrade and FinViz and a couple other websites that report it. So, you know, I guess anything over a 20% short interest has the potential to be a short squeeze. But again, volume needs to come in first. The good price action needs to come in first before you can kind of look at it like that. Same thing for a gamma squeeze. It's possible if you look at the options chain, but the volume needs to come in, and the volume still is historically low right now. So, you know, we'll see what happens. And yeah, you know, let's see what's in the chat though. Eric says, is Clover a trade you'll stay in through holdings? I think you meant earnings. Personally, I will be in Clover through earnings. I'm going to try and literally lower my risk for one day, which is going to be tomorrow because of the earnings. But I still will somewhat be in Clover. I don't even know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to decide during the day tomorrow. I don't know. I don't really know if I'm going to hedge it. What I might just do is lower my position just towards the close tomorrow. Wait for the earnings to come out and then react to whatever the earnings look like. But I still, you know, for a decent amount of my position will still be in for the earnings. You know, even if somehow the earnings are a complete flop, I'm not going to be putting myself in a position to lose a crazy amount of money, but I will have exposure in earnings. Yeah, I will, but it probably will be a little bit lower just for tomorrow overnight, and then I'll reassess on Thursday morning. So, but again, you have to make your own decision. Don't just blindly follow me. I could be completely wrong. I hope I'm not, but anything is possible. And I never like, you know, being one of those YouTubers that just says, oh, this is going to the moon 100%. I believe it can, but I'm never going to say 100% for anything. No matter how much I like anything, I'm never going to say 100%. That's just not who I am. There's a possibility for everything. We already talked about Microvast, like literally right before Clover. You can use the scroll bar. As long as you're on a phone or you're on a computer, you can use the scroll bar. Just go back a little bit on the stream, you'll be able to see it. And then also, if you're on a TV and you can't do that, then just wait till the stream is over. Timestamps will be up as they always are, and I always tweet out when the timestamps go up. What else we got in the chat? Michael says, I don't mind holding for however long it takes, as I do think the potential of Clove is unbelievable. All the news has been absolutely so positive and constant expanding. Yeah, I mean, there was even news today. There was the Florida news last week. There was the news today. There's just been so much good news, so much good PR coming from Clover. And it's like, I feel like on most days that they're dropping pretty good news. Today's news was pretty good. Just nothing really happened. It's like, I can't remember the last time news came out and we actually went crazy. It must have been in June. But yeah, make sure to hit that like button. Let's get to 30 likes right now. If you're enjoying the stream, hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. But yeah, you know, I agree with you, Michael, as well with you, Thomas. There's definitely a difference between trading and investment. Absolutely. So just make sure you're kind of listening to what I'm saying. I'm not just saying, you know, you can only trade if you're an investor in the stock, you're an investor in the stock. I'm just mainly, for 99% of things I talk about on the stream, it's through the eyes of a swing trader, because most of my trades are swings, and that's my primary method of trading, swing trading. But yeah, you know, we'll see what happens on Clover. Hidden bullish divergence still is there. Anything else I forgot to mention? Oh yeah, even on the 15-minute chart, there's a bullish shark pattern that formed. It actually bounced right at the PCC to the cent, pretty much. Had a nice pivot off that during the day, had some nice volume into the close. I think it was around flat after hours, not too much of a change. So it'll be interesting to see what pre-market looks like tomorrow for Clover. Yeah, we're going to be doing taker requests probably in about 10-15 minutes, so don't drop any takers just yet in the chat. We need 6 more likes to hit 30 likes. And that's pretty much the majority of it for Clover. I feel like I'm forgetting something. There was something else I wanted to talk about. I just can't remember it about Clover right now. I don't know. If I think of it, I'll try and bring it up again. But yeah, you know, I already put out a video on Clover over the weekend. You know, a little bit of a mini pin bar over here on the 4-hour that I didn't notice. But, oh yeah, let's just talk about the levels before I move on to Fisker. On Clover, your levels kind of came back under that 850 level we were talking about last night, unfortunately. But now it's just kind of going above and below it like it's nothing. So maybe that's not really in play for the short term. I really think anything is possible in between $7.67 and $9.90. All right, your largest support is $7.67 for Clover. Your largest resistance, in my opinion, is $9.90. $9.90 was your resistance at the beginning of this month. It was resistance in the middle of April, and it was your support in November of last year. Now $7.67 was pretty much your exact low of this whole entire downtrend that's been in since June. It was also your 2-day support in the beginning of June. It was resistance in the middle of April. It was resistance in the beginning of April. It was even resistance in the middle of May. So the 767 level, even if we go over to the monthly chart on Clover, look at this. You see all these candle bodies? They're right around that level, okay? All these candle opens and closes were right around that level on the monthly chart, even the candle low from last month. So, yeah, that's the biggest support I'm looking at, $7.67. So that's pretty much it for Clover. Keep hitting that like button. If anybody has any questions about Clover, feel free to ask in the chat. Vance says, what kind of chance you think on a CLOV squeeze? We were just talking about that. It's possible. The short interest is high enough for a short squeeze. The options chain, in my opinion, could be loaded up enough for a gamma squeeze as well. Both of those are very possible, in my opinion, especially if you look at the FTDs and everything going on there. But the biggest question is volume. You know, it was a very nice day yesterday, but that's one day. Other than yesterday, for the past 2 weeks, it's just been in a range between 790 and 850. So it's like, yes, it's possible, but the buyers need to step up because there's a lot of bad holders in the stock that are down quite a bit. The average cost on Webull the last time I looked, it could be changed now, but the last time I looked, it was like $18 was the average cost for the traders on Webull, and 99% of traders were at a loss. That's probably changed with the bounce up yesterday. So not exactly sure what it is right now. Michael says, can you explain the options chain, summarize what it means and the relevance? Yeah, so the options chain, I don't want to pull one up right now because I don't want to like show all my trading account and stuff, but with an options chain, it basically just tells you at all the strike prices for the options, you know, with whatever date you're looking at. So if you're looking at the August 20th options chain, it'll tell you for all the contracts expiring on August 20th, both for calls and for puts, what's the open interest on those options, which pretty much means how many people are in each one of those strike prices. It'll also tell you the volume for each one of those strike prices, which means how many contracts are traded on the day, I believe. I hope I didn't mix those up, but so it'll just give you statistics on how many options are kind of you know, circulating around certain strike prices. And if you look at the options chain, it's pretty loaded up on certain strikes. I think the last time I looked, which was earlier today, I think $10 was the highest strike price or highest open interest strike price. Let me try and pull it up really quickly. And you also asked what's the significance for that. Well, I'm going to talk about a gamma squeeze for a little second here, which I actually learned through watching Coach B's channel. Go check him out on YouTube. He's been talking about Clover a lot as well, but no, it's not the right thing. 1 second. Let me go over to, I think it's in the options section. This website is TradeTix. If you want to take a look at it, I love this website. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Second Clover here. Yep, there we go. So this is the open interest by strikes. It's not exactly the options chain, but it's pretty much the same thing I'd be looking at if I was looking at the options chain. And this is not necessarily for August 20th. I think this is for all the dates combined. But if you take a look at this right over here, right off the bat, you can see the premiums or the open, sorry, this is the open interest, not the premiums. The open interest on the calls for almost all the strikes that are out of the money. Calls have a much higher open interest. I think we do have some in the money. Yeah, the in the money strikes are actually higher for the puts. Actually, no, those would be, let me think. those would actually be out of the money for puts because it's under the current share price. So yeah, you can see that, you know, if we go above the current share price, calls are heavily in favor. If we go below, puts are in favor. But look at this $9 call open interest, 57,000, $10, 86,000, and then 15 is 83,000. So getting above and holding above 9 could be important. Getting and holding above 10 is probably the most important level, which is why I was saying 990 is the resistance that I've been looking at. Not only just because of the calls, but because of the previous levels I was talking about when I looked at the chart. And then finally this 15, if it can make the move from 10 to 15 after breaking 10 and it jumps over 15, that's where over 15, I mean, it could get insane. You don't have much resistance after that. You have a little bit at 16 and 17 from the previous all-time highs in January on Clover, but then after that, you know, you never know. But and why does all this matter? Well, with gamma squeezes, basically, if you get above these certain levels, market makers, when calls become in the money, in order for them to kind of stay neutral on their risk, what market makers would have to do is, I believe, buy shares to kind of offset, if I'm not mistaken, it's the gamma, right? The gamma squeeze. So they're trying to stay neutral on that. So if we're looking at it like that, you got to think about it. Every time we get into a new strike price, right, you're gonna have to be buying shares to kind of keep up with everything, and try and keep the Greeks in neutral. But then as they're buying more shares, that can in turn bring up the stock price, which allows the stock to get to a new strike price, right, to the next dollar up, and then the cycle just repeats and repeats and repeats, right? They have to buy to kind of offset the options Greeks and kind of try and stay neutral. But as they're buying, it raises the price and it brings them to the next strike price for options, and they got to do the same thing again alongside all the other buyers and maybe people exercising their calls when they become in the money. So it just leads to this whole situation where as you kind of go up and up and up, the options chain can actually catapult the stock price. And then alongside a short interest over 20%, it's just boom, kind of similar to AMC and GameStop there. So yeah, and then also Van says, can you explain max pain? From my understanding, max pain is just the price, you know, for an underlying asset, that if it's at that price for both calls and for puts, the most amount of people will be losing money. It's actually right down over here, but it's saying, yeah, right here, max pain strike point is where the options buyers will likely suffer the most pain. Sometimes theoretically price gravitates towards the max pain. I would guess just because it just maybe market makers or however that works, but it always depends on a bunch of different things. Yep, we are in August seasonality for sure, Cheddar Freeze. And then Christopher says, what do you think the lowest Clover could drop on earnings? Can't answer that. It depends on what the numbers come down to, and unfortunately I do not know the numbers currently. So it just depends on how things look. You know, if the numbers are bad, it depends on how bad they are. It also depends on, you know, if shorts come out to play. It depends on if people cut the, you know, there's just so many different factors. Personally, I'm not somebody who likes to be a predictor of everything. The main thing I try and do is just use past data to anticipate the future. There's a difference there, right? When you're predicting things, you're not using past data. You're just trying to look into the future and pick one or two. When you're, you know, anticipating things, you're looking into the past, you're looking at probability that you do have through data, and you're using that as your bias into the future. So yeah, Sharpie says, we don't shake the crystal ball. I have no clue what the earnings will be like. So it's not like Technicals where I can go look at the chart and tell you the levels. It's like, you know, if losses are insanely large, if revenue is insanely low, if whatever it is does happen, like unfortunately, it just depends on how exactly bad it is and what the reaction looks like alongside all the other stuff going on with the stock. So Cuckoo Bird makes the argument that tomorrow's financial numbers won't matter, growth numbers matter. That's the main thing I'm looking at, how much the growth has gone up, seeing the guidance as well. But they definitely, I wouldn't say they won't matter. I think they do matter for sure. You want to see what the balance sheet is looking like. But yes, I think both of them matter. I think everything matters, and it all kind of comes together. And at the end of the day, apart from the weird stuff going on, the stock price will kind of summarize all that for you, which is kind of why I'm more of a reactive trader than a predictor and stuff like that. I try and let the charts tell me how other people feel all together, right? The charts summarize how the whole entire float feels about a stock. That's how I look at it. And then based on how everybody else is feeling, I just try and play chess and, you know, take advantage of the data that I'm seeing. And I'm not always right, but I manage my risk and I try my best. And that's just what I do. KTF says, I just hope they have strong guidance. Seems that stocks move a lot based on weak or strong guidance. Yeah, guidance will be important as well. So yeah, we'll see what all the turns into. Make sure to hit that like button. Let's get to 40 likes right now. Keep hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hopefully that Clover breakdown was insightful. But we got a lot more to cover on the stream as well, like a lot more. So I think we're gonna talk about Fisker now, which Fisker has been a good time. Okay, I'm gonna pull up this other link. Fisker, roughly 800% profit in 2 days in the premium group. I never, you know, just randomly talk about premium. The only time I talk about it is just to kind of recap a trade. That's the only time I'm gonna bring it up on the stream, or if there's a sale, which there rarely ever is. But yeah, we had a very nice trade. There's already a swing trade idea that I put out for Fisker for everybody. But last Friday, if that was the 6th, last Friday, I think it was. On Friday, I shared, Fisker call option ideas. Take a look over here. They were the 14.5 calls for this week. At the time I shared them, the premiums around 60 cents. And then this morning, they went up to about $5. So when I kind of put in my calculator, it said it was a 760% gain, but then I had like 3 or 4 different people in premium message me saying they got filled at an 800% profit. So yeah, really good move there for the options in 2 days. That's just the type of stuff you get in premium. And I'm gonna also be honest, this is not a typical number. I'm not gonna sit here and act like every single options trade I'm giving out is an 800% profit. That is not true. I'm not here to mislead people. This was a really good trade, but most trades are not 800% runners, unfortunately. I wish they were. But yeah, just sharing it because it was cool. Shout out to Koopy on Twitter, and then also shout out to the Lump in the Discord, who were also saying that they got the 800% profit. But how did this happen? Why? You know, the main reason I'm bringing this up, you know, because I don't like to talk about premium on the stream, but the main reason I'm bringing this up is so we could kind of recap for education how I was able to identify not necessarily an 800% profit, but a move up in the price for the short term. So I'm gonna go back over to the Fisker chart, try and teach you about what I was looking for, or what I was looking at last Friday, and how it eventually turned into an 800% profit trade for options, and also just like a nice 20% move on the actual stock price if you're in the swing trade that everybody has access to. So let's go back over to TradingView, pull up the Fisker chart. And also, if we got any OG stream watchers in the chat, can we get some vibes in the chat? Because this is where all of it started, Fisker. And any day that Fisker is up 21% should be a day we're all celebrating. So really fun stuff for Fisker. Everybody knows how much I love this stock. So seeing it up 21% is very, very vibeful. I don't know the right word to use there. But yeah, so Fisker, I think, got a reiteration of the same price target they had from Morgan Stanley as Adam Jonas. Very controversial analyst over at Morgan Stanley. A lot of people, when he talks bad about certain EV stocks, those people hate him because, they're investors in those. But then again, on the flip side, he has been right a bunch of times as well. Of course, Fisker has not hit his $90 bull case target, but it made a very, very nice move in February when he did give it a good rating. And then also, if anybody remembers QS, he gave it a $70 price target in, I believe, February, right around earnings, and it hit $70 a couple weeks after. If we take a look at this QS chart, it's already on my watch list. We're probably gonna have to come back to it later, but I'll just show it for educate. Right now, I'm just trying to educate a little bit before we just get into the boring stuff, which is just recapping the ongoing trades. But over here, if we take a look, it was right around here in the beginning of February when Adam Jonas gave QS a $70 price target, and you can see within weeks it went up to, within days it went up to 70, and then it hit his price target, never came back down. I mean, I have no clue how at $45 he gave QS a $70 price target. I think that's insane, and then it actually happened within a few days. I don't know if anybody else thinks that it's insane, but he really did a good job spotting that move right there, Did a great job with doing that. I don't think anybody else would have been able to kind of foresee that move in a week and a half, and it's almost like it was a time-stamped trade I put out, and also the biggest trade I've ever made in my life personally from a dollar standpoint. There you can see the entry, hit the target. It was a 44% trade in a couple of weeks. If anybody was here when this trade happened, it was a monster. I was in options, and I was in a lot of options on this trade. In hindsight, it was a pretty big risk, but it ended up playing out, and the stock went up 44%. My options went up, I think, over 1,000%. But yeah, that's just another scenario where Adam Jonas made a good call, and I made the same exact call. Literally, I think 2 weeks before he gave it a $70 price target, I shared this trade with literally, if you can see it right over here. Oh wait, you can't see the right side of the screen, but it's blocked by the chat. But this is the $70 level. I also had the target of $70.95, and look, it hit that level perfectly before going back down. Just some history lessons right there, so you can learn from the past. But back to Fisker. Yet again, crazy good move. Gapped up today. The current swing trade is up 18%. The options I was talking about earlier that went up 800%. Last week I was looking at them on Friday afternoon, and let's see, August 6th, right over here. So on Friday, Fisker had a really bad day. I think it was down 7 or 8% when I shared the options idea. They actually did go down before going up. But I think it was the stock price was around like $14.60 when I shared the options idea with the premium members, and I was looking at, I think it was the 15-minute. If I go over there, right over here, look at this, right? So I was looking at this bullish shark, pretty scuffed, but double bottom at the PCZ. Again, like I said, it ended up going lower before going higher. But I was also looking at a bunch of other intraday technicals on my Thinkorswim platform, and 2 days later, technicals aligned with a catalyst, and you saw a crazy move. And like we were talking about last night on stream, it's just truly surprising, Not only did I share the options idea with the premium members on Friday, like I put out this swing trade probably 2 or 3 weeks ago with an entry at 1550, and now the stock actually hit 1950 today at the session high. So even for the swing trade, very good move. And also highest volume on Fisker today since, I believe, April 21st, so that's nice. Obviously, there's a gap to fill now, which probably will fill at some point, but hopefully it hits the target before filling that gap. But any close above the 200-day moving average I like on Fisker. And you don't really have much resistance till 20. Honestly, everything in between 15 and 20 is very up and down. So hopefully you can just hit the 20 point before hitting the 15 point. So this trade can hit the target, but hidden bullish divergence is confirmed on the daily. Very good volume. Pretty neutral daily candle apart from the gap up. But yeah, just 2 dojis in a row on the 4-hour. Apart from that, it's just crazy. Pretty much all the major swing trades I put out on Fisker were followed up by a lot of good catalysts. Even though the one I put down over here in the beginning of May, I put out an alert right in this area on Fisker, and there was like 4 catalysts the week after I put out that idea, and it was an amazing trade. I think it was like a 60% gain or something along those lines if you were here 2 months ago. But yeah, that's pretty much a recap for Fisker. On Twitter, it's weird because a lot of the times what happens when Fisker makes a crazy move that I've noticed for the past almost year now is there's a lot of people FOMOing on social media. Like I remember back over here, I put out a trade idea back in January for Fisker at 15 when it was in this Wyckoff accumulation range, and it was like a month, it was like 3 weeks of waiting, and it just did nothing. It had a bunch of fake outs to the upside, hence the Wyckoff range, and then it eventually went insane. And I remember not that many people were really paying attention here because it was doing nothing. And then once it started going, like there was so many people I know on Twitter saying to buy up here and stuff like that, and then it just boom flopped all the way back down to 10. But usually what I've seen in the past when Fisker makes a run is there's a lot of people FOMOing on Twitter telling you to chase it. This time around, I've actually been seeing between yesterday and today a lot of just hate about Fisker. just strange to me, because back in January when Fisker had pretty much, I believe, the same exact type of price targets for Morgan Stanley, it might be a little bit different, but I believe there was also a $90 bill case price target from Adam Jonas in January or February. Just the same thing right now. Everybody was hyped up over here, but now I'm going on Twitter and everybody's like hating on it. A lot of people, especially that are Lucid fans, are like, Fisker does not deserve to have a $90 price target and Lucid doesn't have one. Like, it's Fisker, okay? It deserves whatever price target it deserves. Just weird. I don't know, I'm just bringing it up. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but it's like the first time I've seen, like, because Fisker's never really been like a hated stock apart from when it was SPAC and it was just dumping every single day. But this is the first time I'm seeing like haters come out on Twitter for Fisker, which is, I don't know, just something new, something interesting. I was kind of laughing at it. It's just, we'll see how this all turns out in a few years. That's all I'm gonna say. A lot of vibes in the chat. Thank you for that. Keep in that like button. Thank you for the 40 likes. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let me just read the chat for a second here. Cheddar Free says Fisker will also be at the Canaccord conference tomorrow. Interesting to see that. AS says, is it possible that technicals always follow with the catalyst, as in there's always someone that knows something big is going to happen? I've been asked that question a lot. There's no way I can answer that. For me, I just simply look at it like a coincidence that pretty much on all the major swing trades for Fisker, because of technicals, I put them out, but then eventually Catalyst came out and just allowed the trades to hit their targets. But I don't know, it's just a crazy coincidence. You know, the same exact thing happened to the QS trade. It's happened a couple times on Clover. If anybody's new here, I'm not just jumping on the Clover bandwagon. I've been talking about Clover since it was IPOC. Actually, the first trade I put out on Clover was this. It was in the middle of January, if I'm not mistaken. I put out an entry at 1320 and my target was around 17. It was this. This was like the first ever swing I timestamped and put on TradingView, and it was a perfect swing. I got the exact local bottom and I got the exact local top. For newer people, I'm not just making that up. It is timestamped on my TradingView page. And everybody, I remember back then, it was crazy. Everyone was asking me on this whole entire downtrend right over here, because there was a lot of hype around IPOC on Twitter back in the beginning of January. Everybody was asking me, when's the swing coming out? When's the swing coming out? And every single day for like a week straight, I was like, gotta wait, gotta be patient. I'm watching a specific level. And eventually came down to the level which used to be the resistance last October, had the hidden bullish divergence. The trade played out perfectly, and then Hindenburg had some words to say after the trade hit the targets. But it's just such a cool coincidence to see how many times this year technicals and fundamentals have lined up on trades. Obviously, you have to give a good amount of credit to the insane bull market we've seen since the COVID crash as well. Mehdi is saying Adam Jonas watched the video I put out. Jeffrey says, don't pay them any attention, keep following the price action when it's telling us. Absolutely. I was just bringing it up because it's just interesting to see it on Twitter. It doesn't affect me at all. I already know how I feel about Fisker. You probably all know how I feel about Fisker. So yeah. Like literally today, somebody was like asking me on Twitter, like, you know, why should Fisker ever be warranted a $90 price target? I could have taken out, 10 minutes to tweet back and say the variety of reasons that I know off the top of my head, like I've said many times before on stream, but I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I just like literally retweeted and said, hey, Fisker people, answer this for me. If anybody follows me on Twitter. AS says, don't pay attention and do the awesome work you're doing. Appreciate that. Roger says, it's because Jonas came out with the BS price target on Microvast. No, for sure. I'm not saying Adam Jonas is perfect. I definitely know, and I understand why a lot of people don't like him. I think he also had a very weird call with Tesla back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm just saying there's a lot of bias. There's a lot of bias for me because his price targets in January and February definitely did help out the Fisker and QS trade ideas I put out, which the QS trade was my biggest trade ever. So I definitely have a lot of bias. I'm gonna be very honest about that. But I'm just saying he's not only screwing up those other EV stocks that everybody complains about. Sometimes he really is, giving some pretty good ideas out there, putting out ideas out there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Fisker. Still got a lot more to do, so let me just kind of move on a little bit here. Keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, join the Discord. We're closing in on 2,000 members in the Discord. Links in the description. Right now I'm just going to recap the rest of the ongoing trades. And after do that, we're probably going to do ticker requests in about 5 minutes. Sorry I've delayed it so much. And also, I don't even know if we're going to be able to do all the tickers in the chat tonight. I might just have to pick and choose, but we'll see. Alright, trading view. Why are you verifying Microsoft? Give me a second here. Alright, I think we're good now. First off, ongoing trade. Again, if you're lost right now, I put out trade ideas, which are in the Discord. Links in the description. I deleted the tab, but I was going to show you the weekly share now. It's pretty green week for the swing so far. But yeah, just going to recap and just give some updates on the swing trade ideas I've put out. First off, RES, probably the biggest one I need to update on today. Great day today for RES. Had a bullish pin bar yesterday, which I forgot to talk about on stream, but today it broke back above the $4 level that we were talking about last night on stream, which is a very important historical level. And you confirmed classic bullish divergence on the daily for RES. So really good day for the RES trade, back in profit. And I just want to see it continue to hold above 394 on daily candle closes. Next up, X Monster. This trade is currently up 12% since the entry. I think I put this out at the end of last week. 3-year long cup and handle. I like that this trade's up 12%, but again, I'm waiting for the bigger move here. Hopefully it happens, especially with everything going on with the infrastructure bill. So yeah, it broke out of the handle. We talked about that last night on the stream, that it broke out of the handle. And then today you got fall through price action alongside, I believe, the infrastructure bill getting passed by the Senate. So a little bit of a help there, I believe. Yeah, good stuff. You are slightly overbought in the 4-hour. Could have a little bit of a pull before going higher, but good stuff so far for X. Next resistance is 30 bucks roughly. Says, let me see here. Says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully you can see the stream all right now. Sometimes it just randomly says that. It looks like it should be good. I'm watching the replay right now, so I think we're good. Next up, BlackBerry, flat day today, nothing really changed. Still around the entry of the trade, still looks bullish to me from a technical standpoint. I just want to see it move. You know, it's not really done much. Maybe in a little bit of a triangle over here is forming. So whichever way that breaks out could be telling. Let me keep this on my chart actually. So we'll see what this turns into for BlackBerry. Still have a hidden bullish divergence on the daily, still above the 200 moving average. All I need to say for BlackBerry is I want to see it hold above $9.60. Next up, Wish. Relatively a flat day for Wish today. I mean, for the rest of the tickers, it was a flat day. Not much update on Wish. I just want to see it continue to hold above $9.70. You still have hidden bullish divergence on the daily. It is starting to make higher lows on the 4-hour chart finally. It just put in a higher low on August 5th. So could be a little bit of a short-term trend reversal. Hopefully it can turn into eventually a mid-term trend reversal, or then even more a long-term trend reversal. But let's see if we hit the 23% retrace. Yeah, the 23% retrace has been achieved, so you can now say that we did hit a swing low at the end of July. So hopefully that can just turn into something larger and it can hit the targets, but we'll see what happens. Earnings are on Thursday, I believe, so it all comes down to that for Wish. Doc, this is actually also another thing I need to update. The trade is only down 1%, but this thing moves like a snail, like we've been talking about every night on stream. Unfortunately, we zoom out, Doc broke under the upsloping channel for the first time since I put out the trade idea, so that's not good. Really what you need now is, or you would be hoping for, this to be a fake out and then you bounce back in and reclaim the channel, which can definitely happen, but you did confirm a daily candle close under the channel. So currently your next support will be the 200-day moving average around $18.16. Hopefully you can at least hold that. But literally it's a 3.5% loss if this thing gets stopped out. This trade barely moves. I don't know what's up with DOC. And then finally another flat day for QS. So it was a pretty, the ARK was down almost 3% today, and a lot of the swings I put out are related to the ARK ETF, but the swings today held up for the most part. Nothing was really that red today. And then RES and X were up. QS, nothing changed since yesterday. I just want to see QS eventually break above 25. That would be a major breakout to me, which could send it up to that $30 level. It's just in a range right now between 21 and 24. looks pretty similar. The daily chart on QS looks pretty similar to the 4-hour chart on Clover actually, except on Clover you have a bullish crab and on QS you have a bullish butterfly. But you kind of have that triple bottom kind of looking formation range after the pattern completion zone. So we'll see what all this turns into. You just want to continue holding above 21 on QS. And now I can breathe. That was a lot of talking. So that's pretty much the recap of everything from Clover to Microvast to Fisker to the stock market to the crypto trades to everything. So hopefully the recap helped. It took me we had a lot to talk about. It took me like an hour to do the intro for the stream, which unfortunately will be the majority of the stream for tonight. But usually, you know, for people who've been watching the streams normally, usually it only takes me 20 minutes to do everything I just took an hour to do. It's just, there's a lot going on, which is a good thing for sure. But yeah, we're 3 likes away from 50 likes. Hit that like button. Let me take a look at the chat for a second here. Let's see. We got some pineapple pizza talk in the chat. I'm just gonna ignore it for tonight. If anybody didn't watch the end of last night's stream, I shared a screenshot in the Discord, but for like a split second, I was looking at pineapple pizza on Google, like literally after I ended the stream, and it was like on the ending screen. I turned it back on for a second and just shared how I was looking at pineapple pizza. DF says, which MA do you use for day trading or / swing trades? Mainly I just use a 200-day moving average for swing trades. For day trading, if I am going to use a moving average, sometimes what I do is this. I go on the lower time frames. And I have this indicator on TradingView, which is a combination of the 20, 50, and 200-day, and I just throw that up there. It's not that good though. You know, I don't really use this much. I kind of just use it for a little bit more confirmation if I'm kind of on the fence about something. But sometimes I do pull that up. Mainly though, what I do is not on TradingView, but on Thinkorswim, I use the 9-day EMA for day trades. I use that kind of similar to how I use the VWAP as an intraday support resistance. So hopefully that answers your question. So yeah, we got Neutron Flux Labs, who's been really busy lately, in the chat. Says, yo, what's up, FTM fam and Champion Vibe? Glad to see everyone here. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well. Cheddar Free says, day trading, you want to use lower MAs. Yep, you know, just so they can be a little bit more real time. That's why mainly I just use the 9 EMA on Thinkorswim, like I was saying. AI says, do you prefer SMA or EMA or a combination of both? I prefer SMAs when you're looking at larger moving averages, like probably 100 and the 200. I prefer SMAs. If you're looking at under the 100-day moving average, I think EMAs make a lot more sense. Not a lot more, but it really comes down to preference. From my understanding, SMAs just kind of average out whatever time period you're looking at. So 200 SMA will just average out the last 200 days, just kind of all together. What an EMA will do is it'll average out, you know, the past 200 days, but it'll put a little bit more focus on what's been like the recent few days. So it's a little bit less lagging, I believe, than an SMA. But it just compiles the data a little bit differently. So it just comes down to what you're looking for. You know, do you want the overall trend, or do you want a combination of the overall trend with a little bit of the recent trend in your moving average? But yeah, moving averages are probably the most moving averages are probably the most used indicators. Most institutions do use moving averages, and most institutions do not use all the random other things we talk about, like divergence and stuff. As far as I know, I could be wrong. You know, I've never been at an institution, but just from, you know, stuff I've heard watching other people on YouTube and stuff like that. But Neutron Flux Lab says, just broke free, late at work, cooked for the fam, and then was in the garage doing touch-up bodywork paint for one of the boys' cars. Now to work on the money printer with the trading fam. You have a really busy day, so congrats. I don't know if congrats is a word, but proud of you for doing all that work, and just keep it up. You know, hard work pays off for sure. And yep, that'll be it. Not for the stream. That's not it for the stream. I said we were doing ticker requests, so we will be doing ticker requests, but that's it for the recap of the day. So here's what's gonna happen. We've already been streaming for an hour, which is usually how long I stream for. But I do want to do take requests. I have energy right now. Last night I just didn't have energy, so I'm down to do take requests. But I probably won't have enough time to get to all of them. So how do we do this? I kind of want to just let everybody drop tickers in the chat, and I'll just randomly pick some. Otherwise, we could do like the first 15 tickers in the chat. I probably should have asked this before, because now people are just gonna start dropping tickers. But let's see. I'm just trying to think, because I really don't have time to do like 30 or 40 tickers like I usually do. So I only want to do like 15, 20 max. So I don't know. What's the best way to go about this? There's probably going to be more than 15 tickers dropped in the chat right now, and I don't want to be unfair to anybody. So I mean, I'm doing one per person regardless, but there's going to be more than 15 right now. That's what I was thinking. Sunny as well. Sunny says maybe do whatever's more popular among the crowd. I was gonna like just look at the tickers that I'm already familiar with. That was what I was kind of thinking. Remember, don't request anything that was up over 30% today. I don't like chasing things. Don't request anything that IPO within last month. I need data on a chart to look at it. And remember, nothing I say is financial advice, okay? This is all probability, not certainty, and my opinions can be wrong. And some of them will be wrong. Yeah, if you ever want more eyes on a certain ticker to help you out and just help you learn and just look at a chart, join the Discord. There's almost 2,000 people at any given hour of the day that can help you out. Just ask, just go in the chats. Say, hey, what do you think? What do you all think about Fubo? Can anybody help me look at the chart? 9 out of 10 times somebody will help you out. There's a lot of people to help you out in the Discord. Links in the description. So DF says pick randomly, no hard feelings. Sunny said the same thing. All right, so just for tonight, I mean, honestly, it looks like there's not any more new tickers in the chat. All right, this is what we're gonna do. Every ticker that has already been dropped in the chat, every single ticker that's already been dropped in the chat, I'm putting dashes in the chat right now. Every ticker above those dashes that was dropped in the chat, I'll look at. So I think that wasn't a crazy amount. I was thinking it was gonna be a lot more. So if you see the dash that I just put in the chat, don't drop any more tickers under that. Everything above that, I'll look at. All right, so Peloton, Lots, OEG, SoFi, Pinterest, ATVI, USWS. We'll look at Fubo too, Maddie. I actually wanted to talk about that earlier regardless, but that'll actually be the final in the night. So yeah, that's about 15. Pretty spot on right there. We're gonna take a look at all of these. Now I'm gonna, again, and the main reason why I kind of have to cut things short sometimes is because I don't like to half-ass the charts. I like to kind of give all my thoughts when I look at each one of these charts and just give the most amount of education that I can. So we're gonna start off with Peloton. From a longer term perspective, this does look like an inverse head and shoulders to me, with your neckline being at around really this 125 to 128 area, this little supply area over here. If it ever breaks above that, I think this thing has probably room to then 140 and then eventually maybe even 150 plus. But long-term inverse head and shoulders. Short-term, if we zoom in, you have a little bit of a down sloping channel over here, something like that. Maybe like a descending broadening wedge. But earnings are towards the end of the month, so that'll, because this is such a large structure, I feel like that's probably, I don't think much is going to happen. I could be wrong. There could be some sort of news that comes after Peloton, but if it just continues like this for the rest of the month, I don't think there's going to be a huge move. So I think earnings will eventually make the decision of whether this breaks to the upside or just fails. But again, who knows? Maybe news can come out. I know this is technically a stay-at-home stock, so if Delta variant stuff starts, picking up and everything, anything's possible. But I'm just saying, for right now, the volume is just low. It's just not really doing much. So I think earnings for right now is just the main thing I would be focused around. Sorry for kind of swearing right there. I really try not to swear because I know some people might be watching like with their families or whatever. So like sometimes it just slips out. Apologies for that. Lots is next up. I think Lots just hit an all-time low today. Yeah, it did. So at all-time lows, what happens is if you look left on the chart, you don't have any support left other than Fibonacci. And if we use Fibonacci, you're still not really at a support. Your next support would be the 1272 at $3. I will be genuinely, wow. Has any other SPAC gone to $3 post-merger? I mean, maybe, but, or any popular SPAC? I can't think of any other popular SPAC that went to $3 post-merger. It sucks for Lots. It's just not been performing well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say with this one. It's just all it's done pretty much is make lower highs and lower lows. This stock is just in a bear trend for right now. For something this rough, personally, I would just wait for some sort of a reversal sign with higher highs and higher lows. But if you just want to look at the levels on Lots, I mean, 406 was your previous all-time low, so that's your first level. You want to get back above that for sure. And then after that, 643 was your kind of three bottom low from March to April. You eventually broke it, so you want to get it back above 411 or 406. Sorry, you want to get back above that level, hold it as support, and then there is always room up to 643. There's not much resistance until then, but it's just a question of if buyers will at some point come in. That's really all I see for Lots right now. I mean, it got destroyed today. I don't know if earnings were today. I think they actually might have been they might have been yesterday or something. Oh no, I know you're not being critical, Neutron. I know you're just making a joke, but no, regardless though, I try not to stream. I mean, I do try. I stream every night. I guess I'm getting tired now, but I try not to swear on stream. Just because I do know some people that have messaged me saying like, you know, they watch the stream with their children and stuff, so I don't want to be a bad influence or anything there. OEG is next up. I remember like the first time I ever said a bad word on stream. It was recently too. It was only like a month or two, but everybody was going like crazy in the chat. It was so funny. But OEG, let's see what's up with this. It bounced off this 324 level, which used to be resistance in 2018 and support in 2017. It bounced off that level at the beginning of this month. There's hidden bullish divergence on the daily. Looks pretty interesting here. I'd probably look at it like this. I would ignore this fake out. I don't know if there was news or what happened on that date, but it just kind of went above and then came back in. So I just look at it like this, a little bit of a falling wedge that it could be breaking out of right now. Hidden bullish divergence. Anything above 324 I like from a technical standpoint on OEG. Your next resistance is just around like 410 to 420. That's your 200-day moving average, and 420 was resistance in 2017 and support in 2016. And that's pretty much it for OEG. SoFi earnings are on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, so it just comes down to that. The technicals, I've been talking about it for quite a bit. You know, for the past few weeks. I like it from a technical standpoint. It's starting to perform pretty nicely. I mean, this week it's been flat, but last week had a good week. So I hope earnings go up for SoFi. I even like SoFi fundamentally, and I like the chart, so I'm hoping that it does well, but again, there's no certainty. Let me reset my playlist. All right. So yeah, that's really it for SoFi. Your next resistance is $17.72, then $21 or $20.65. And your major support you want to hold no matter what is $14.75 from your triple bottom in March and April. Pinterest is next. Pinterest is an interesting chart. It got wrecked on earnings. And it's just weird because if you just do an XABCD, it is a bullish bat. But what happened was you really didn't fill out, you know, this part of the bat. So I don't know if you need to do that for it to be valid. But you are finding some sort of support at the 88% retrace, right? Even if we just take away the harmonic. Why is this not deleting? Oh. Even if we take that away and we just use fibs, you can see It's currently at the 88.6% retrace, and it's attempting to double bottom off of that. Again, it's not really an actual clean double bottom, but you had a first bottom over here and a second one. So I'm not really talking about a double bottom as like the actual pattern, but just the actual candles coming down to a low one time and a second time. I hope some of you get that. I know Cheddar Freeze knows what I'm talking about, but double bottoms typically, you know, should look a little bit more like that, not just like this. But just from a candle standpoint, you have a daily candle low over here and a daily candle over here. So just like from a price standpoint, not necessarily a pattern standpoint, it's trying to double bottom with the potential PCZ of a bat, if that's how you want to look at it. Regardless though, I think it comes down to this for Pinterest. So this little yellow box I have here, it's not a huge area. So the bottom of it is pretty much your high from October 26th of last year, and it was your low from May 13th of this year. And then the top of this box was your candle body close on November 10th of last year, and kind of your supports from beginning of May, every day apart from the day it went down to the bottom over there. So for me on Pinterest, it just comes down to holding this yellow area. If it breaks under it, then I think it's going to fill the gap around 46.30ish. So I really want to see it hold above this zone from like 54 to 55. That's Pinterest. Let's take a look at the chat. I haven't looked at it in a second here. Thank you for all the likes. Brewster says, you heard it here first. Champion Vibe tries not to stream, but the will of the multiverse makes it happen. Yeah, I just mixed up my words there. Cheddar Free says, I've been following the price action on Pinterest right at the 86. Yep. KTF says, is that rectangle bar a demand zone? Not like a technical, demand zone with volume, but it's like a support resistance demand zone. There's two different ways that you could kind of call demand zones, if that makes sense. There are literal, demand zones in terms of bullish volume, and then there's also demand zones in terms of historical support resistance. And I'm looking at it as a demand zone, potential demand zone in terms of a historical area, not necessarily volume. I haven't looked at the volume at that level in terms of the profiling. Let's see. What else we got there? And yeah, the only reason I don't swear on stream is just like literally just because I know sometimes parents watch the stream with their children or whatever. That's the only reason. Otherwise, if I didn't know that, I probably would have a sailor's mouth on the stream. So shout out to all the parents watching right now. And if there's any children watching the stream right now, it's your bedtime, all right? It's your bedtime. Go to bed. So Activision is up next. I think 83 is a good level to try and hold above. If it can do that, I mean, there's room on Activision back up to $90. That's kind of, I believe, where it started falling from pre-earnings, and that's also around your 200-day moving average. And this 83 level that I'm talking about was your resistance last fall. So I like it above 83. It's kind of right at 83. It just depends on if it can hold it. If it cannot hold this level, then it could be a bullish bat trying to complete, but the PCZ would be down around the mid $70 area, which also lines up with a support from last fall as well, and a resistance from last summer. So those are the two levels I'm watching, or three levels I'm watching: $90, $83, and $75, roughly. Neutron Flux Lab says, shout out to the kids go to bed. No candy or cartoons tomorrow. Gold Miner's a kid. And well, for a kid, you know a lot about trading Gold Miner from all the questions you've asked in the chat, so good job. All right, Cheddar Free says, oh yeah, it's always there to keep in mind. All right, so USWS, when are the earnings here? It says earnings are tomorrow. So from a technical standpoint, earnings can override anything. But if you just want to talk about levels on this chart, 86 or around 87 cents is your closest support. And then I'd say your resistance is around $1.16. I don't see much of any pattern here, not much of divergence. It's just kind of trying to hold this 200-day moving average pretty much this month so far. So you just want to continue holding above that, and we'll see what the earnings looks like. Just a reminder for anybody waiting, I'm not going to be doing any more take requests for the night. I already have a bunch on my watch list that I added from earlier. Just going to finish these and get out of here. Let's see. Rooster says, first day of school for your kids tomorrow. Summer schedule is over. Good luck to not only them, but to you for the upcoming school year. I know it can get crazy. Yeah, I start college at the end of this month, but we all know that's not going to be too much of an issue. I'll still be streaming every single night. I'll still be in the Discord during the day. I'll just have to have more coffee. That's just kind of all it is. Etsy. Very, very weird. I mean, I don't really know how to look at this kind of. I can see this one going either way. I don't really see much of like a clear pattern or formation here. So I'm just going to chart the levels. All right, those are the more important levels I see. Just if you want to take a screenshot, go for it. All those orange numbers on the right side scale. Other than that, I really don't know. I'm trying to look for stuff. I'm eyeballing the whole entire chart. I just can't find much. You got a little bit of classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour MACD and on the RSI. So that's one thing. Other than that, you are trying to break back above your 200-day moving average, which has been your support. It was your support last month. So hopefully you can just hold above that. And then if it breaks above 190, it could have room back up to 225, but not the clearest chart to me. Sunny says, Champ, what are you studying? Financial management in college. But if you were in my streams when I was in college before summer break, pretty much in the beginning of this year, you know what, I've talked a lot about it. It is what it is. I'm in college just because I don't really know. I don't feel like I need college, but college definitely can be a help, and just a lot of experiences and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, my main issue with college is just learning a lot of things I don't need to know. That's probably the thing I have the most against college, and I just feel like it's a waste of time. A lot of times it's a waste of time for me, which is what it is. I guess a lot of people probably feel the same. At the end of the day, it's all about just learning as much as you can and all that. But yeah, financial management, which I guess probably does make sense as to why. Yeah, Microsoft is up next. Microsoft is crazy. There were a lot of bearish technicals on Microsoft in July that just got blown right through, and it just kept going higher. It's a very, very strong stock. There's just been demand nonstop for this technically forever. Not forever, but I mean, things at all-time highs. It even broke to the upside of a rising wedge, which is technically a bearish pattern too. Like it's just against all technical laws. It's just been going up. I think Microsoft is fine as long as it continues to make higher highs and higher lows. So it's kind of we were talking about lots earlier, kind of the opposite. I would be waiting for actual lower highs and lower lows to start being created for me to get bearish on Microsoft, even if there is bearish divergence and bearish harmonics, because I have seen bearish divergence and bearish harmonics on Microsoft in the past month both fail, at least for the short term. So we'll see what happens. I think your biggest support right now, Microsoft, would be your previous supply line. That would probably, not probably, but that could be your new level of support if it does fall back down to that level. And then you have a gap fill at 281, which could also be a support potentially. Moderna, there's nothing I can do from a technical standpoint on Moderna. It just went parabolic, and in the last month or so, it's been even more insane. On the daily and the 4-hour, I have no clue. There's two arguments whenever you see something going straight up. First argument is stock is extremely strong. There is a reason for this to be going up nonstop. There are buyers here, and it is in a bullish trend. That's the first way you could look at a stock just going straight up. The other way is this thing's overbought. Historically, every other time it was overbought on the RSI, it did pull back eventually. And at some point, this is going to stop going straight up. That's almost a certainty. It's not going to go straight up forever. Could it just eventually make a dip, make a higher low, and then up again? Yeah, but it's just not really something I like personally trading after it's gone straight up. What I like entering is over here. When you're making higher lows, you have an ascending triangle formation, you break out of it, you back test it, you have bullish divergence, and then you go crazy. That's what I look for, all those types of things. But after the move happens, I kind of look for other things that look like what this looked like before the crazy move, right? I like getting in before the monstrous straight lines up. So I can't really do much on the 4 hour and the daily from a technical standpoint here. If we go over to the 1 hour, looks like you got a little bit of classic bearish divergence playing out as we speak, and then I'd say your support on the 1 hour is 420, ironically, from this little resistance you had over here on August 5th. And then after that, around 361, those are your supports. And then in terms of resistance, I mean, if you want to use Fibonacci, I don't really know exactly. There's a lot of different ways you could fib this, but you could fib it like either like this, or you could fib it like from the previous all-time high until whatever this swing low becomes to be. Yeah, 4 more tickers and I'll be getting out of here. Oxygen is up first. It's making a nice move. We were talking about Oxygen a couple weeks ago and how it looked pretty bullish to me, and now it's starting to make a nice move in the past few days. If it gets above 9 and it holds above 9, I mean, it tried to get above it today but it didn't hold it. If it can hold above that, I think it has room to 1060 and then eventually 14 almost. So yeah, it's starting to curl back up, not overbought by any means on the daily. Was a little bit overbought on the 4 hour and then it pulled back. Could also kind of be looked like an Adam and Eve double bottom as well, like this. Adam bottom and then Eve bottom, and then $9 would be your neckline. So it's all about, if the make or break area for this one in the short term is 9, you just want to get above it and hold above that. If you can't, we'll see what happens. You know, it's not a super clear range between 9 and 6. CELH is next up. We got 2 more tickers after this. Support on CELH is $70.70. It was your high on January 20th. It was your high on March 2nd. It was your 2-day candle lows on June 8th and 9th. And it was even support for a couple days in the beginning of July. And it again was a 2-day resistance on July 30th and August 2nd. So 70 is your most important level I see on CELH. And then your next resistance is just your previous highs at around $83. So I think it just depends on if it can break above 83, that would be good. If it breaks under 70, that would not be good. So let's see what happens there. Any sort of a pattern though, let's see. Nah, it doesn't really look that good to me. Yeah, that's all I would really be watching on CLH. Now we got Root. There's not much I can do here, unfortunately. It just hit a new all-time low today, which means there's no other horizontal support left. If you want to use Fibonacci here, I'd probably go from this low up to this high, and then your 1272 would be around $6.60. In terms of resistance, 832 is your closest resistance, and then 948. And other than that, there's not much I see here. I don't even know if this could be. I don't think this is about harmonic, because it just, yeah, that's not even a 38% retrace on the C point or B to C. I'm not too sure about that. I mean, it is actually at the 3618 from B to C, but I don't know if that's the best way to look at it. And then final ticker of the night, Fubo. It crushed earnings today. Let's see what it went up to. Closed after hours at $32.10, which from a technical standpoint is really good. I mean, you already did close the day above the 200-day moving average for the first time since I think July 14th, and then after hours it went up to that $32-ish level. You have confirmed hidden bullish divergence on the daily. If you zoom out, it's kind of an inverse head and shoulders. If it can, so now if it somehow just stays exactly at 32 for the open tomorrow and it doesn't go crazy up or down in the pre-market, if it opens right at 32, your support would be $31.38. and your resistance would be around 35. If it gets above 35, I mean, that would be major. There could be a lot of upside room even above 35. If it does break it, it might be a little bit overbought and it might need to pull back before going higher, but this is what you wanted. You know, we've been looking at food, and I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, it depends on the earnings, and earnings were good, so that could really help out this inverse head and shoulders idea. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but yeah, that's it for the stream. A little bit of a longer stream tonight, had a lot to talk about. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that like button. Let's get to 60 likes right now. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you're not in the Discord, links in the description. Join right now, and yeah. I'm just gonna read the chat for a couple minutes and I'll get out of here. I missed a lot of the chat. Oh, I'm out of water. Got a recess. You're still very young. Keep that learning mindset. Yep. Neutron Lux Lab says, unless you're a doctor, lawyer, accountant, or such, it's a waste. It's a backup plan outside of entrepreneurship or trading, for which trades pay handsomely right now. Yeah, that's also how I kind of look at it. Neutron Flux Labs also says, no many 500K a year plumbers. Yep. Iron trim cutters and roofers, flooring, carpet, all that stuff. Absolutely. Sunny says, I understand that. When I started university, I just went because my family was like I should, LOL. Didn't really have any direction or anything, but I figured out after 2 years, sometimes even after graduating with the degree, still feeling a little lost. Absolutely. Oh yeah, I forgot to really talk about this. I'll talk about it in another stream more in depth, but if you've seen the FTM Twitter, I did announce that we will be looking for more content creators in the next couple of months. It's going to be a pretty slow process, so it's probably not going to be anytime soon, but I'm just going to try and, you know, start putting my foot out the door and just trying to see if there's any other people out there that just want some help with getting some more exposure in the realm of trading. I'm looking for people that want to stream and that want to grow Twitter accounts and stuff like that. Don't really care about the following size. I just care about people who are hardworking and I just want to help others out. So I will be looking around. I'll talk more about it on another stream because it's kind of the end of the stream right now, so I'll talk more about it on another stream. But yeah, oh no, I did not spill my water, Neutron. And gonna tweet TA, another good one you should talk to or decide about. Absolutely. If anybody has any recommendations, message me on Discord or Twitter or something. But we'll talk more about that later. I don't want to really talk about it right now. I want to talk about it when I have more energy and there's more people in the streaming and stuff like that. So thank you for watching the stream. Have a good night. See you in the Discord. Links in the description, and peace out.